And as a baby, you can express many emotions. They don't think about, is this acceptable or not? They cry, they wince, they laugh, they express fully. But as we grow, and let's say a toddler, we're told, don't be this, don't be that, or we have to adjust because we want to belong. When we have a battle between authenticity and belonging, we're going to be choosing belonging because we need attachment to survive. So we shut off parts of ourselves. And imagine it's like shutting off a wing in a castle. And so suddenly that wing is not allowed. And then we close off other rooms. And then this room, we're not able to express this, whether it's jealousy or whether it's lust or whether it's anger, which is a very common one. So eventually, what it was a castle might become a few rooms. So you can see how our availability to feel even and to be able to express what you call oomph and maybe a broader range of qualities is significantly reduced. So that's what the shadow is from the Jungian perspective. Where I go beyond that, Mahmood, is I look at 4 lenses to understand the shadow. So psychology is useful, but it's not the whole of the lens. We're not just mental beings, we're embodied beings. So the second lens I use is biology. So understanding the impact of our physiology, our DNA, our social, our evolutionary history on our behavior. So there's an evolutionary biologist called Robert Sapolsky who's written about this in his book, Behave and Determine, how he talks about how our behavior is a complex interplay between our DNA, our hormones, our biology, that when we're under stress, we behave in negative ways. So it's not just looking at our psychology, it's looking at how does our biology influence on our behavior and accounting for that as leaders and as in your world as marketeers as well. The third lens I look is the social or the cultural lens, that it's not just the me that I don't see, the individual shadow, but we live in a society. So there's also the we that we don't see, or let's call that culture. Or as David Foster Wallace in his famous commencement speech at Kenyon College called, "This is water." We're so subsumed in it, we don't see its impact. Yet culture can drive certain behaviors. Now, how do what gets rewarded in society, what gets suppressed and unacceptable to deal with in society, from simple gestures to whole ways of behavior. So I look at that always, that cultural lens, how does that impact? And the last one is the spiritual lens, this idea that the shadow, if we imagine it as a period of darkness, isn't necessarily something negative. It can also be a space of transformation and growth. Think about the seed in the earth. Think about the baby in the womb. When we think that nothing is happening, at least visibly, it's also a place of transformation, of gestation, of birth of something new. And there's a rich tradition, and like there's an author called John of the Cross and a book called The Dark Night of the Soul. And that period when we all go through like a period of deprivation or feeling that something is being stripped away is the possibility of emergence of something new. So the shadow, and when shadow comes upon us, or darkness, an opportunity for revealing something new about ourselves and growing. And we see that in Taoism, for example, in the simple yin and yang symbol, dark and light are both evenly represented. And in the dark, there's always a little light, and in the light, a little dark. And yet we privilege one over the other in ordinary leadership or management. And it's how do we make space for holding both? And my work is about reclaiming the dark and being able to lead from the dark.